Judges of the Courts of Common Pleas are elected by the people and must stand for retention every 10 years. However, the practice has developed whereby judges who reach the age of 70 take senior status. The idea was that senior judges would be available to help out as need arises. However, several senior judges work full-time in positions of great authority and control in the Court of Common Pleas. In effect, bypassing the requirement of standing for a retention election and denying elected judges their opportunities to fill these positions. What is your view of this practice? And if you're opposed to it, what would you be willing to do to stop it?
Well, I think, number one, I think there's already a bill in the legislature to expand the age to 75. These judges that are still there after age 70 and they're working as senior judges, they already have to leave when they're 80. That's also the law. They can't sit there, until they're 1,000 years old like they used to be. And really what we need to remember is they're doing nothing more than adhering to the law as it's written. They're allowed to do that. They're paid per diem. They can come in, they can handle as large or as small a caseload as they pick and choose, we're talking about a legislative issue here also. And I don't believe that them just being there takes away any vacancies that would be created on the court. They're doing extra work, but we have a huge backlog of cases in Allegheny County too. I think by and large the attorneys appreciate the additional help. I know we certainly do, and it doesn't prevent other judges from being elected or from doing work because it doesn't count against any vacancies.
Ms. Ernsberger, we'll go this way. We'll go counter this time.
Well, the mandatory retirement age of age 70 seems somewhat out of date. Many people are working, my mother's 88 and she runs a business, so many people are working much later in their lives. It's actually written into the state constitution, so they filed a lawsuit in Philadelphia to overturn it, but they may have to do it legislatively. But be that as it may, the practice of senior judges I found to be helpful rather than harmful because they seem to be able to fill in and know what's going on for judges who are on vacations or when there's a case overload. I think if they extend the age of retirement, then at some point they're going to have to decide how you get judges off the bench who should be going for health reasons. Of course, that can happen long before you're 70 too. But that has to be another issue that's addressed. But generally, I find the senior judge practice to be helpful more than anything else.
I think that the requirement of mandatory retirement at 70 is unfair. No other state employee has that requirement. It violates the discrimination in age. I don't see any basis as to why judges have to retire at age 70. Now, assuming that's the law, though, I don't have any problem with senior judges. I think they help out. They reduce the backlog. And, a good example, Judge Gallo does summary appeals, and he does a great job. He mans that courtroom. He does all this. The summary cases are considered minor cases. Criminal cases are divided into felonies, misdemeanors, and summaries. And he does all the summary appeals. And so I think he does a good function, and a lot of senior judges do. And we had Judge Reed in Criminal Division come from Beaver County and helped us a lot. And I think the senior judges do a lot, and they're not, those slots aren't counted as like the 4 vacancies we have. Those people, they don't count as vacancies in the courts. They're not hurting our abilities to get hired or retained.
I don't think the mandatory retirement age at 70 is being used to bypass the retention of judges. In the history of Allegheny County, there isn't, in the Court of Common Pleas, there has not been one judge that has not been retained. So it's not a long shot on retention. With respect to the mandatory retirement age, I think the Supreme Court of the United States has ruled on that, and I think one of the parties was Ashcroft. A state court judge case out of Missouri. I don't know if it was John Ashcroft or that just happened to be the judge's name. I can't recall. But the Supreme Court of the United States has already ruled on that issue and has ruled that mandatory retirement for judges at age 70 is certainly lawful. So But I do agree with senior judges that are capable and want to work and continue to work, that they should be able to help with the overflow. I'm definitely in favor of that.
Yeah, I don't think the question is about how old should these people be or not. I think their question was about, does it, in effect, bypass the requirement of standing for retention? And I don't think that's necessarily the case. And it doesn't apply, the senior judges, as I think Marvin said, don't count toward the vacancies. I think the senior judges are very helpful. They take down the caseload for everyone else. I think I'm the only person here that could serve 3 full terms and then some. I like to think by that time I would know enough about the judiciary to be even more helpful than I was in the beginning of my service. So I think senior judges are helpful in that regard.
I think the question was senior judges working full-time, taking the place of other judges. What you have to understand is that if the judges are working full-time, they're doing a lot of that without pay. The Pennsylvania Code provides that the senior judges can get a per diem, a daily stipend, but combined with their retirement benefits and their stipends that they get, they cannot exceed the salary of a then sitting judge. So knowing what the stipend is and what the for example, if you had a judge who's been there 20 years, he could be getting close to the full salary. So in essence, he wouldn't be getting much of a stipend. He might get 2 or 3 days a month, and then he's done. He's done. I don't think they should be used as full-time judges. I think that they do serve a purpose and that they can be helpful to the court, but I don't think that they should be working full-time, even if it's gratis. If we need more judges, we should have more judges.
And just to start off, I don't think there's much impact on retention. I think, as PJ mentioned, I don't think that's an issue because of the retention rates for judges. The retirement age at 70, I think that's an issue that's been litigated. I think somebody mentioned there is a bill pending in the legislature, and I think there was a suit filed coming out of Philadelphia. So that issue will have to work itself out as far as whether the mandatory retirement age of 70 is going to change. I think senior judges do provide some benefit. A couple that I can think of, I know in the family division, Judge Kelly helps out when the commission judges are away on conferences and so forth. They use him to help. And I know Judge Weddick is in civil division. I know he hears the motions on Fridays, and I know a lot of attorneys rely on him and his knowledge in handling those. Judge Gallo was mentioned for the summary appeal. So I think that the senior judges do provide some benefit, but I concur with Mr. Schubert. I don't think they should be at a full-time status as a commission judge, but I do think they serve some purpose. And I think my time's up. Thank you.
I think I agree mostly with P.J. Murray on this. It's not a question of retention at all. That retention is kind of a joke. There's never been anybody that hasn't gotten retention, and that's a debate for another day, frankly. With regards to senior judges, I have a little bit of a different idea. I really don't think senior judges are the greatest idea in the world. Because whether you're in the civil division or whether you're in the criminal division or the family division, wherever, you're dealing with the most important issues that are going to affect a citizen's life off the street. In the criminal division, our senior judges still hear bench trials. They don't do jury trials anymore, but they do bench trials. They're still deciding on people's liberty. In the civil division, the family division, they're still making decisions about critical issues. And, I'm sorry, I think at some point you have to draw a line in the sand as far as the age. And at 70, I think most people at 70 still have great faculties, but I think it's better to be safe than sorry. If you need more judges, get more judges. Let people enjoy their retirements. I know after 24 years, I'd be ready.
Yes.
I agree that the senior judges in this county are making valuable contributions to our system. I want to comment that Allegheny County is one of 67 counties in Pennsylvania, and there are many small rural counties that have 1 judge, 2 judges, or share a judge. in another county. I think the senior judges are critical to the justice system in many of the other counties in this state.
Yeah, I think senior judges serve a purpose. However, as Mark alluded to earlier, I was surprised over the course of this journey, there was a discussion about eliminating some seats from what I understand. And I thought that was curious because I know there are a lot of senior judges that are working a lot, and it didn't make any sense to me. Why would you eliminate seats when there must be a lot of work out there? Senior judges are working so much. So I think you need to make sure the actual judges, the full-time judges are working full-time, are busy, and are working their caseload. Certainly, if there's some overflow that the senior judges can step in, utilize their experience. I mean, they're obviously very experienced jurists. That could be helpful, but I think only on an overflow basis.
I would agree. I've never had an issue with senior judges. I've actually found them to be, a helpful part of the process. In large part because they do bring depth of experience to the table. That's helpful. And honestly, my experience also tells me that I really haven't had a difference between a judge who is 65 and a judge who is 75. I think it's a arbitrary number, and that really is, a question of the individual rather than the age.